Hey, welcome to this online Hangout Masterclass on the 5 crucial stages of the inspired artist. So there's so much stuff to get through in this web class that hopefully you're on here and you can see this and you're watching. If you are, please leave me a comment below or in the chat, or just to let me know you're here. And I'm going to get straight into this presentation because there is a lot to cover. And so let's do it. So I hope you've been getting all my videos the last couple of weeks, helping you overcome this artist dilemma of not having enough time, money, and confidence to do your art practice. So this free online hangout is really to take that to the next level and talk more about the 5 crucial stages of being an inspired artist, or just having a really kick-butt creative practice, the kind of creative practice that you've always wanted, but for some reason you've been blocking yourself or something is blocking you. And that's really, I'm going to get more into that later, but that's really where we've got to start, is where the blocks are. So, so let's get into this. I'm going to get this presentation up and rolling. So I'm just going to share my screen. And then hopefully you can see this too now. Okay. So the masterclass of the 5 crucial stages of the inspired artist. So that's what we're going to go through in this session. So I will obviously delve into that as we go through it. So first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for making time to be on this hangout, and mainly you should be thanking yourself for making time to be here, because making time is the first step to really getting any creative work done. Is you've got to kind of stop, make some time for it, and make sure it happens. So basically, well done for being here. Congratulations for, following your nose and clicking all the right links and everything to be here to learn this stuff. What I'm going to share over the next, say, 60 minutes, so an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. So we're going to go pretty deep on some of this stuff. I have never ever seen it taught anywhere else, which is the reason that I created it, because artists need this stuff. Every time I have a conversation with an artist, I tell them, that I do music stuff, and I tell them I do, workshops and mentoring, and I tell them that I focus on mindset and, clearing blocks and the 5 crucial stages I'm going to share with you over the next hour. And every single artist always says, I really need that. And as far as I know, and as far as I'm concerned, every single artist needs to know these 5 stages and what to do about them, because no one really teaches us this stuff. So thank you for being here. Thank you for giving yourself the time to be here, because time is precious. So your time is precious. I really value your time, and my time is also really precious to me. So I'm going to give as much content and value as I can in this hour that we have together as possible. So let me move on and do some of that. So yes, thank you for being here on your rocket ship. So 2016 is going to be the absolute best year for your art. And the way to get the most out of this session is to make sure you have a pen and a piece of paper. You may want a couple of sheets of paper. And if you want to quickly grab a glass of water or go to the toilet and really be here. So like I said, time is precious, and so is presence. So make yourself really present and be here for this hangout. Close all the other tabs on your computer, switch your phone on silent or switch it off. Tell people you're busy for the next hour or whatever, and really focus in on this and let this be the center of your attention for the next hour or so. Because, yeah, I'm going to share with you some really important info that you probably won't really find anywhere else in this format. So they're my suggestions for getting the most out of this session. Okay, so making a mindset shift is the quickest way to unleash your creative potential. If you've seen the videos I've been sending out, you'll know where I'm coming from when I talk about this. So let's move on. So you can make a mindset shift from the very seat you're sitting in right now. So you don't have to go to a special location and be wearing special garments and go through a ceremony. You can do it from the very seat you're sitting in right now. So 90% of your creative success is determined by the health of your creativity mindset. So I will go into a bit more of this in a moment, but to have a really clear and a really healthy and a really supportive psychology and mindset in your creative practice is going to be the thing that really separates you from another artist. A really simple example is usually using the example of two artists, like I just did then. If you just imagine there are two artists in two studio spaces right next to each other. And for this example, we're just going to say they're painters. And I want you to imagine one of them has a really clear, healthy creativity mindset. So they're full of confidence, they're willing to take risks, they don't really care what people think about their work, they are willing to follow through on interesting ideas and things like that. And then the other person is really self-conscious, not confident about their creative work at all. They've got a lot of head garbage about what it means to be an artist. Maybe they feel really selfish that they're even in a studio creating, a painting. Maybe their parents told them that they should just go and, they should have a really steady job and that's the way to live life. So if you now just imagine those two people in those two studio spaces and ask yourself, which one of those artists do you think is going to create more art and also probably more interesting, boundary pushing art? And so we know pretty instinctively that it's the person with a really healthy activity mindset, who's confident, who doesn't have all the head garbage, who's not questioning whether they should or shouldn't be making art. They're just clear and they're just good to go. So that is why creativity mindset is 90% of your creative success, because it is, I believe, the largest factor between someone who will eventually quit and someone who will eventually make it. Okay, so very quickly, this is the basis of how I explain creativity mindset. So you'll see T. T stands for thoughts. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to you taking action. And you taking action leads to your results. So if you look at your life at the moment and you look at your results, so maybe you're not painting as much as you want, writing songs, whatever it might be, they're your current results. And your results come back from the way that you think about your art. So this is like a one-way stream. Your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to your results. So if you want to know what your mindset is like, how healthy and strong and supportive it is in your art, take a quick moment. If you're not happy with your results, it just means you change your mindset. It means that there are blocks, there are limiting beliefs, there's limiting self-concept, and you don't have the self-confidence to follow through and do what you really want to do. So that's all I'm going to say about mindset at the moment. So this happens to apply to every single kind of artist, musician, writer, any other kind of artist, singer, dancer, photographer, clown, cross-stitcher, whatever it is that you do, whatever your creative field is. Your mindset, the state of your mindset will affect the type of success and fulfillment you have in your art practice. So that just happens to be absolutely true for every single kind of artist. It's actually true for every single human being as well, but I focus in on you and your art. So change your mindset and you automatically change your results. It's that simple. So if you work on your mindset, if you work on your inner world, the way you approach your art, how you think about your art, how you think about yourself, how you think about the role of the artist in the world, that all of that really impact your results. So change your mindset and you automatically change your results. Okay. So another quick example is a hot air balloon. So if you have a filled hot air balloon, it's ready and it wants to take off into the sky, but it can't take off if it's still tied down, to these big stakes in the ground, and it's filled with sandbags. So that's always going to be holding it down. But if you cut away those ropes and you throw out all those sandbags, the hot air balloon naturally wants to take off. It naturally will rise. So it's the same in your art practice, that if you remove the sandbags, which are the creative blocks, and the ropes that are holding you down, which are your limiting beliefs, you can go through systematically and take out a rope here and there, throw out some sandbags. And the more you do that, you'll reach a point where your creative practice will naturally start to take off. Because I'm sure if you're watching this video, you have a natural impulse to create. That it's something that brings you joy, that you'd like to do more of, but for some reason at the moment, there's something holding you back. And that is absolutely, totally normal. I was in the exact same spot that you were probably 3 or 4 years ago. And that's why I'm teaching this now, because I found that once you change your mindset and you tweak a number of things, the whole game changes and creativity just gets unleashed, and all that discipline and taking action, all that stuff is a consequence of a really supportive, clear mindset. Okay, so the cool thing is that mindset doesn't take days or weeks or months or years to develop. It doesn't take hundreds of hours of repetition. So in most of our art practices, it takes a long time to get good at something and to see improvement. But with mindset, you can have one aha moment. You might even have it in the next hour that unleashes a whole stream of creativity and creative potential. Mindset just takes understanding. So it doesn't take, hours and hours and hours of repetition. It takes a level of awareness, and then a process of collapsing limiting beliefs and competing beliefs in your mind, and creative energy automatically gets released. So the good thing is, once you get it for life. Once you have that aha moment, it doesn't just revert back. You now have that. You can't forget the aha moment. Okay, so all you need to do is download mindset shifts into your own creative life. So if you imagine, if I could somehow put into Dropbox all the positive, supportive, creative beliefs, and you could just download that somehow onto a USB and sit in your ear and download it into your brain, and suddenly your brain gets reconfigured and has all these supportive, creative beliefs. How would that change your art practice? It would have a profound effect on your art practice. I can absolutely assure you of that. So that's how mindset works and how mindset shifts work. So I'm going to quickly go through the benefits of a clear and healthy creativity mindset. if you've seen my other video, my longer video, I go through a lot of this. So I'm going to go through it quicker because I want to get to teaching you these 5 crucial stages. So clarity, creative freedom, more inspiration, creative ideas and potential being unleashed, deeper creative joy when you're in the moment of creating. Those blissful creative moments where everything seems to disappear. The confidence to totally trust yourself in your creative practice and to totally just go for it. So you'll get to share your gifts open-heartedly with the world when you have a supportive creative mindset. You'll transform yourself and the world with your art. You'll accelerate with ease. You'll find the quality time to focus on your true creative vision. You'll find an abundance of people to work with, an audience who gets you, values your work, and will happily pay you, and who can't wait to see what you create next. So you'll get out of your own way for long enough so that you can do what you love to make a great living, and whilst contributing and creating a huge positive impact in the world. So I have struggled and been frustrated in my arts practice, like I mentioned earlier. And I hope you don't mind me taking a moment to tell you a bit about my story, because I'm only telling it because I feel it will be relevant to you. You'll notice in all the past videos, I haven't really talked about me at all, because this is all about you. It's all about you and your creative practice and you achieving your vision and your goals and your success and your fulfillment. But I'll tell my story so that hopefully you can pull something out of it that works for you. So I've played guitar since I was 11 years old. I'm a songwriter, I'm a singer, I've played in bands. I've been really fortunate to make a living from my art, which is no small feat. It's really a lot of artists' dream to do that. And I was able to do that. And I lived in Berlin for 4 years and did a lot of touring, and I've done music for films. I've been fortunate enough to tour with some amazing people, Gautier, Missy Higgins, Claire Bowditch, Tommy Emmanuel, who's a guitar virtuoso who I got to tour with in Europe. I've released a number of albums, had film clips being awarded Film Clip of the Year on Rage, loads and loads of other things. I've been really fortunate to have a lot of, what I call a lot of success in my creative practice. A lot of my creative dreams have come true, but it wasn't always like that. So, when I tell that part of the story, people are like, yeah, sure, well, why are you teaching people mindset if you were just able to do all this stuff? The fact is that I wasn't able to do any of that stuff before, just a couple of years ago. So I would struggle to maintain any kind of practice, any kind of daily practice. I knew that I needed to practice to get better. I was hardly writing songs at all, even though I called myself a songwriter. I would write, 5, 6, 7 songs a year, which is less than a song a month. I had a lot of stage fright. I used to get very nervous on stage. The first time I went to perform, I almost broke down crying. I lacked a lot of confidence. I was always second guessing myself. My inner critic was very loud, and I'd get halfway through writing a song and my inner critic would just beat me down, and I would give up on a lot of creative work. I had a lot of head garbage about my family. So my parents are migrants to Australia, and all they ever wanted for myself and my 2 brothers is that we just get like a really good paying job and work a cool office job and get paid well and buy the house and do all that sort of stuff. And I decided I wanted to be an artist, and that took a really long time to fully give myself permission to just do the thing I love doing. So when it comes to struggling and being frustrated, I very intimately know how that feels. I know what that's like. And the best news is it doesn't have to stay that way forever, because I ended up spending, well, the last 3 years studying this hardcore, but I went off and spent $20,000 on a number of courses, personal development courses, mindset courses. I traveled all around the world to learn these skills. And once I learned them, I had a 6-month period in my practice where I wrote more than 40 songs. I did 10 paintings. I wrote a book. I did short stories, over 200 illustrations. I went dancing on a regular basis. I went to the gallery regularly. I read biographies every month of artists that inspired me. And my entire creative life changed. I became the most prolific I had ever been in my entire life. And so the moral to this story, if there is one, if you right now feel like you are struggling in your creative practice, and you feel a bit frustrated and things aren't going the way you want them to, and you feel like you've got something to give and you've got potential and you want to do it more, but you just somehow can't get it together to do it, you are not alone. I was there. I was that. And there are ways of learning to structure time, to get inspired, to have a plan, to clear the creative blocks, to learn how to deal with your inner critic, to become more courageous, to not let fear take you out. All of those things are learnable skills in the way that your art form is a learnable skill. It may look like magic to people who can't do what you do, but it's all learnable. And that's what I'm here to teach you. I want to teach you a lot of this stuff so that you can have the exact creative vision and creative life that you want. It is absolutely, totally possible to do it. So that's my story. That's how I got here, and this is why I'm teaching this stuff, because this stuff is powerful, and I have not found anyone in the entire world who teaches this to artists in this way. So let's move on. So yes, I got tired of not being good enough, not having done enough, the lack of progress, not having enough time or money, the lack of balance in my life with the distractions of work taking up a lot of time, relationship needs with my partner and my family, and just day-to-day life admin that would just leave me totally zapped and tired and uninspired and not want to do my creative work. So maybe you're sick of the lack of self-belief and you want the courage to make a change, to get out of the rut of being stuck, frustrated, having no time, no money, no structure, no plan, low self-worth, out of control inner critic, feeling like it's too hard or that it's only for other people. And for some reason, you're not worthy of having an enjoyable creative life. So let's help you find the balance, reach long-held goals, connect with your creative force, truly feel successful, feeling bliss and elation and connection with your creative work and happiness and that flow when you're in the middle of your creative work and how that feels. And sometimes you can have fleeting moments of that, but I want you to have an entire day of that, or week, month, lifetime of being able to access that deep well of creative inspiration. So that's the life of the inspired artist. That's what this is all about. How to feel inspired and excited about your art and your life. So let's go through the 5 stages now. Okay, I'm going to take a quick little sip because I've been talking very fast. And then we'll go through the 5 stages. Okay. So stage number 1 is creativity mindset foundation. So this is really crucial to start here. this is the reason I go on and on about mindset stuff. My partner is probably tired of me talking about it. All of my art friends are tired of me talking about it. But the reason I talk about it is because it is the root of everything. So I know as a songwriter and as a guitar player that I studied guitar for 2 years, and I learned how to play jazz and some really hard pieces. And I learned all this technical stuff, but you can learn every single scale in the world, chord relationship, harmony, how to write songs, how to sing like an angel. But if you don't have a creativity mindset that is supportive, that tells you, yes, you can do this. Yes, you should do this now. Don't watch another, series of blah, blah on DVD. If you don't have the mindset, you really don't have anything. You've got a whole bunch of skills that the four walls in your bedroom are going to experience, but the world is not going to experience it. So creativity mindset foundation, this is stage number one. This, you really cannot go anywhere until you've done this. So what I want you to do with your pen and paper is I want you to rate yourself currently where your creativity mindset is at the moment. So a one is if your inner critic is so strong that you haven't done work for maybe 2 years. That's like really, really strong, and that's so give yourself a really low score of 1. 5 might be you do a bit of stuff, you want to do more, but you sometimes get caught up either in inner critic stuff, or you just seem to be blocked at the moment with either limiting beliefs or just not really sure whether you can do it, whether you're good enough to do it. And then give yourself a 10 if you just believe you have absolutely no blocks whatsoever, that there's no limitation in your mind at the moment with what you can do and what you can achieve, and you're probably already been commissioned to repaint the Sistine Chapel. So that would be like a 10. So rate yourself in there somewhere, and give yourself an honest rating of where you're at. The more honest you can be, the better this is going to be for you. Okay, so stage 1 is creativity mindset foundation. Really, really important. Okay, so let's go into stage 2. Stage 2 is clarity and vision. So this is about having a really clear vision, an inspiring vision of your creative life, your creative projects and things that you're working on at the moment. So this is stage 2, is getting clarity, knowing what you want to do. And the clearer you can be on knowing what your creative vision is, the better your chances are of achieving that vision. So the way that I like to explain this is, if you have no vision, then it's very hard to take any action, and then you have no results. If you have a fuzzy idea on what you want to do, it's kind of vague, then you'll take vague action, a bit of this and a bit of that, and you'll get really vague results, kind of mottled. Sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it won't. If you have a really clear vision of where you want to go and what you want to do, and then you're able to take really specific action, and then you will achieve that vision much, much quicker than someone who is unclear as to where they're going. So clear vision, taking clear and precise action will get you to your vision very quickly. So stage 2, you need to have clarity and vision. So let's go through now and rate yourself on clarity and vision. So you can just do this as I'm talking, but I'll just give you some examples. One might be you have absolutely no idea what you want to do next. So maybe you play music and you draw, and you have no idea of which one of those you like better. You don't know, you don't really have any projects on the go, and you're just kind of dabbling at the moment. So that's maybe a 1. A 5 would be you've got some ideas as to what you want to do, you're taking some action, but you maybe not getting the results that you want to see. And then 10 would be that you know precisely what you're going to be wearing at the Grammys or at the Emmys or whatever it is. You have a really clear vision of exactly what you're doing, where you're going, when it's happening, and it feels like it's just a matter of time until it happens. That you are so certain that it's going to happen because of your clarity and vision. So that would be a 10. So just rate yourself somewhere between 1 and 10. Okay, so I hope you've done that now. So let's do a quick visualization. So if you don't have a vision, let's quickly create one. So this is something that I do in my workshops and mentoring, is creating clear visions of where you're going. So in this exercise, I want you to look into the future 1 year from now. What would your ideal arts practice look like? So with that question in your mind, I want you now to take a deep breath. So take a deep breath in and out. So close your eyes and take another deep breath in and out. Okay, so keep your eyes closed, and I want you to continue to seek in this vision 1 year from now what your absolute ideal arts practice would look like. So if money was not an issue, if you knew that you could work with anyone you wanted, if you knew that you could not fail, if you could just wave a magic wand and it was just going to be exactly the way that you would love it to be, what would that look like? Imagine the kind of projects you would love to work on. Okay, so now, that was a very, very quick visualization, but hopefully it started to bring up the feeling that there are great things in your future creative vision that you're heading towards, that excite you. So you want these visions to be very exciting, because a dull vision does not motivate you to do anything. An achievable, dull, safe vision actually is less inspiring than a big, audacious, exciting vision. So what is your current specific plan to take you to your ideal creative vision? So do you even have a clear plan at the moment? Because a clear plan is really, really important. So I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But a goal without a plan is just a wish. Or a goal without a deadline is also just a wish. But you really need to have a plan. Okay. So stage 3, creative habits. Developing supportive creative habits allows you to enjoy a creative practice that's based on tapping into your natural creativity rather than forcing yourself into it. So we are creatures of habit. Aristotle once said, excellence is a habit. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. So when we create habits, our habits become our default way of being in the world. They become the path of least resistance. So you may have, you do have hundreds and probably thousands of habits currently. So one of them might be that in the morning you like to wake up and switch your phone on and check Facebook, or you get up and you go and have a glass of water and then you make a cup of tea and then you eat porridge. And this is almost the same thing every day. You go in our day-to-day lives, we virtually go to the same restaurants, we go to we read the same websites or newspapers, we talk to roughly the same people most of the time, and these are our creative habits, or these are our habits and our default way of moving through the world. So what we want to do is make creativity a default way of being. So if you think of, there's an example of Stephen King, who writes 4,000 words of his book every single day, no matter what is going on. So even when he goes on holidays, he still writes 4,000 words a day. So that is a creative habit that the consequence of that is that he ends up creating a lot of work. So you really need to have creative habits in place so that becomes your default way of going through the world, and it becomes a easy and natural way to create work rather than forcing yourself into it, or rather than using loads of discipline, loads of willpower, guilting yourself, all of that sort of stuff. That all works short term, but long term, you need to create creative habits that basically that does the work for you. And when you're not doing creative work, you actually feel slightly uncomfortable. So it's like if someone always has a coffee before they leave the house, and then one morning they're running late and they don't have time to have that coffee, they feel weird for the next 2 or 3 hours until they get a coffee into them, and then they feel whole again. It's very similar with creative habits, that once you create the habit, it's very hard not to do it anymore. And when you don't do it for a little while, it starts to feel weird, and you naturally want to come back and do creative work. So there are many ways of achieving that, which I won't have time to go into right now. But I have a number of tools on how to create a really solid daily practice, and how long you need to do a creative thing over and over until it becomes a habit. And there's a lot of neuroscience around this and a lot of studies that I think I've read all of them. So, so creative habits, absolutely crucial. Okay. So before we move on, rate yourself at the moment between 1 and 10 on your creative habits. Do you have a lot of supportive creative habits at the moment? So a 1 would be that your daily practice or your practice is very inconsistent, that you might do a couple of days in a row and then you'll kind of fall off the wagon and not do it for a while, and then you come back to it and you're on and off. 5 would be that you've got a number of good creative habits in place. So even if you're rehearsing on a regular basis, or you draw on the bus or on the train or on the tram or whatever it is. So these are creative habits, and maybe you have a few of them in place. And then 10 would be that if you didn't do creative work every single day, you would die. You would feel like an enormous part of your life was missing. So that would be a 10. So rate yourself between 1 and 10 on your creative habits. Okay. So stage 4 of becoming an inspired artist is confidence, self-concept, and inner critic. So this stage ties in slightly with the foundation, creativity mindset foundation, because confidence comes from within. It's something that you grow for yourself, and it's something that you give yourself. So it's part of the inner game work. Same with the inner critic. And the inner critic and confidence are intertwined, because very often when your inner critic is saying something, it may say, you're not good enough to do this, or you're not good enough as an artist, you're never going to make it. So that's an inner critic phrase. But if you had absolute confidence, supreme confidence in your ability to act and do absolutely anything you wanted to do, the inner critic and that phrase would lose all of its power. So confidence and self-concept, which is the way you view yourself, the way that you believe that you are in the world, whether you believe you're a good person, whether there's shame around doing creative work, whether it's embarrassing, whether whether you think other people are going to think a certain thing about you. So this is all self-concept work. So confidence gives you the courage to act and to make the art you want to make. An unconfident artist becomes a menace to themselves. That's that link between confidence and inner critic. That if you don't have confidence, your inner critic becomes a stronger force. So an unconfident artist becomes a menace to themselves and generally an annoyance to other people as well. So it's really important to work on confidence, your self-confidence. And this is a totally learnable skill. People that are very low in confidence and self-esteem, there are many, many tools which I can share with you on how to grow confidence. And if you want to go and watch video 3 that I sent out recently, I give a number of tools on how to do that, how to increase your confidence and your competence. And this thing called the confidence-competence loop, where when you get better at something, you start to trust yourself more. And so you're willing to take on bigger things. So confidence is something like a balloon that if you keep putting a bit of air in it every day, it will expand and it will grow. So confidence, absolutely crucial. This is a really such an important part of being an inspired artist, because if you don't have confidence, you can be inspired for about 5 seconds until your inner critic gets you. So confidence is so crucial. Yes, it is. So now let's rate ourselves between 1 and 10 on confidence, self-concept, and inner critic. So you'd give yourself a 1 if, as I said, if you got inspired and then went to do work, and then about 2 seconds into it, your inner critic fired up and you would bail on that creative project. That is, actually, that's probably a 2 or a 3. A 1 would be where you don't even have the confidence to try. You don't trust yourself enough to even pick up a pencil and try and draw a flower. That would be confidence level of 1. 5 might be that you do some creative work, or you have in the past, you've studied but you've kind of let it go, and you do some creative work, but you're still being hassled by your inner critic. So that's about a 5. And a 10 would be that you are Donald Trump, that you have absolute unquestionable confidence in your ability, in your value in the world, that you are God's gift to the art world. That would be about a 10. So rate yourself now and write that down. Okay, so stage number 5 is elevate your art. So I'm just going to take another little sip here. Okay, so yes, most artists use the hope it works model for their art. And this is what I did my entire life until a couple of years ago, really. I always just imagined that it was just going to work out, that somehow I would just be practicing in my room and writing a song, and a record executive would just would be walking past and hear and would have to come inside and sign me to like a $1 billion record company. And this is what I have found nearly every single artist does. They kind of hope it works. They don't really have a plan or a strategy or even really an idea of how it's going to pan out more than, 3 or 4 or 5 months from now. So most artists kind of stab around in the dark, hoping that they're going to, hit onto something, or they wait for someone to discover them. And this is the hope it works model for your art. So I hope that you're not using this, but there's a good chance you are at the moment, unless you have a very, very specific plan going on. So you really, really need to have a plan so that you know what action to take, when to take it, where it's leading you, so that you have the best chance of success. So this is about elevating your art and taking it to the next level above hope it works. We want to put it on a level where it's like, I'm pretty darn sure this is going to work because I've thought this through, I've researched it, I've got all the right people on board, I know when it's happening, all that sort of stuff. So Picasso said this: our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan. I could stop there and that would be enough. But then he goes on and says, in which we must fervently believe and upon which we must vigorously act. There is no other route to success. So this quote is incredible. I can't believe that Picasso said this, because when I went and learned all of this mindset stuff and how to, how to achieve your goals and how to be more prolific and all of that stuff, I wish that I had have had this quote back then. So I want to just sit on this quote for a second, because it's so profound and it's so practical, and it comes from arguably one of the world's most well-known artists of last century. And so that's why I don't ask you to believe me when I'm telling you this stuff. I hope you will believe me, because it's going to benefit you more than it is me. But when Picasso says it, I get the feeling we probably should stop and maybe take it seriously and go, oh, okay, this guy was onto something. I might listen to this. So you might want to write this down while I have this on the screen. So our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan. So that's what I'm talking about here. When you want to elevate your art, you really want to take it to that higher standard of saying, okay, my art is so important to me that I'm going to take the time to make a plan for it to ensure that it works out for me. Every single business in the world that is successful has a plan. They have a business plan, a marketing plan, who they're going to employ, all that stuff, what projects they want to work on, how much money they need coming in. All of that stuff is very specifically planned, and they follow that plan. And as my old mate Picasso here says, that's what you need to do as well. You need to elevate your art to the level where you're taking it really seriously and saying, I'm going to make a plan for this because I want to ensure that it's gonna work. I'm not going to just hope it works anymore. I'm going to elevate it and say, this is important, so I'm going to plan it and make it happen. Okay, then the next part where it says, in which we must fervently believe. Here, he's just talking about confidence, that you need the confidence to believe it's going to work. And then upon which you must vigorously act, which is all about taking action, where I mentioned that in the thoughts lead to feelings, lead to action, equal your results. You can't get to the results without taking the action. And that's why the very simple advice I can give to anyone is just do the effing work. So just do the work, just take the action, just make the thing. But as you and I know, sometimes it's not that simple, because there are blocks and limiting beliefs going on. So an amazing quote. So here are a few things to do that. There is a process that I use which is the 4 stages of an elevated art practice. So how you move it up in succession into an elevated art practice. Passion project process. So this is a process of getting really specific on a passion project that you want to work on next, and how to bring that to life, and how to basically create that business plan for your passion project. A specific way of breaking it down clearly. This is a stage where in workshops and mentoring, a lot of people fall off and kind of get their eyes glaze over when they got to really kind of break it down into a consumable plan that makes sense and it's really clear and obvious. Even if it's a big plan, my aim when I create plans with people is that if it's confusing at all, then we haven't done enough yet. It should be so obvious. It should be so obvious what to do next and where that's leading you. So it's important to break it down really clearly. You need tools to stay on track. So this is a number of tools I use, which is like a weekly list, a commitment list, weekly planner, daily planner, something I call a promise plan, which is the main plan for a project. So these are tools to stay on track. These tools are really there to just continue to reinforce and remind you of what the plan is and what the next action is. And then how to avoid overwhelm, because this can be really huge, especially if you're creating an exciting creative future. Some of that's going to feel big, and there are a number of mindset shifts and then also practical tools you can use to avoid overwhelm. Okay, so let's do something amazing. Let's elevate your art. So before we move on, rate yourself now between 1 and 10 on where your art currently is. So, and how well planned you have it, and a structure, and you know exactly when you're doing what, and rate yourself on that. So 1 would be you have no plan, you have no desire for a plan, you've never even really heard the word plan. Also, if you have a huge resistance to planning, you might want to give yourself a 1, because that's going to really hold you back, unfortunately. So that's a 1. A 5 might be that you have at times written out a couple of things that you want to achieve, and you've got them as these kind of goals that sit in a notebook somewhere that maybe you have referred back to it once or twice or 3 times. And, maybe you do have stuff going on, but you're not really checking in with that plan. And then give yourself a 10 if you have what I call a promise plan, where in that plan you have a 5-year vision, a 2-year vision, a 6-month vision. You know what your positive and negative motivators are. You know every single phrase that your inner critic will try and use to get you off track. You know every fear that's holding you back. You know who, where, what, when, why this project is happening. You have a 6-month calendar with everything scheduled out. And you have weekly commitment lists, weekly planner, daily planner, and you're using them every day. Okay, so I know I started to sound a bit OCD there, but give yourself a 10 if you're really, really structured and you know exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there. All right. Okay. So there you have the stages of the inspired artist. So keep those numbers handy, because we're going to come back to those numbers. You might want to add them up now if you want to. So they're the numbers for creative mindset foundation, clarity and vision, creative habits, confidence, self-concept, inner critic, and elevating your art. So we know that things you focus on and work on over time improve. So we all know this. If you're a painter, singer, dancer, whatever it is that you do, you know that if you focus on that skill and you work on it, that over time you improve. But things you focus on and work on with a mentor will help you improve astronomically. There goes my little rocket. So mentoring and coaching, whatever you want to call it, is an incredible tool to help you go from wherever you are now to where you want to go much, much quicker. It's like phoning ahead into the future and asking yourself how you got there. So imagine if you could phone yourself in the future 10 years from now, and you've got this incredible creative practice happening and whatever's happening in your art practice. Maybe you're just really fulfilled. Maybe you're world famous. Maybe you've got gazillions of dollars. Maybe you've started art grants and funding bodies to help other artists, whatever it might be. And then imagine if you could call yourself 10 years from now and say, how did I get there? What were the steps that I had to take? And can you leave out all of the hard stuff? Just tell me all the stuff that worked and leave out all the stuff that didn't work. So that's the power of mentoring. It's really like a shortcut into the future. So I didn't have a mentor ever growing up. I mean, I had a guitar teacher, and sometimes your teacher is a mentor. I mean, a teacher is a mentor because they have information that they're giving you that is going to shortcut you trying to work it out. So even if you think of whatever your art practice is, if you think about trying to work it all out on your own, just how slow that would be. Like I had about 10 years of guitar lessons, and I went and studied guitar and had a great teacher that helped me improve in those 2 years astronomically, like I mentioned here. And if I think back to trying to do that on my own, there's just absolutely no way. I never would have left the ground. So mentors are really, really important. Also, in the art world, everyone used to have a mentor. I mean, it was the way. It was like an apprenticeship. It's like now if you become a mechanic or a plumber, you do a mentorship. We call it an apprenticeship. It's in art, it was the same. You would study under someone and they would guide you and mentor you, right? Okay, so what is mentoring? So I've talked about this a little bit. Mentoring is a process, is about drawing out the full potential of the artist being mentored. It's like calling ahead and using the knowledge and experiences of someone who is somewhat further down the path. It's a way to shortcut the process of endless trial and error or reinventing the wheel. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. Why try to become the giant on your own? It's a way of modeling things that work by saving money, time, and effort along the way. So I highly recommend mentoring to accelerate your learning. I have a mentor right now. I would never, ever again go through my creative life without a mentor. I just think they're extremely valuable. So it's a way of getting into the fast lane of your creative vision. So I want to give you a couple of examples of mentors because we don't hear about this very often. So one of them is Lady Gaga. So I guess one of the world's most famous artists at the moment was mentored by Marina Abramović. So if you don't know her, she's a performance artist. Katy Perry also has a mentor. Here are some people you may not know had mentors. Allen Ginsberg is an amazing poet and writer, was mentored by Walt Whitman for a long time. Leonard Cohen was mentored by Irving Layton. Albert Einstein, even though he's not strictly an artist, a very creative, incredible person, was mentored by Max Talmay. They used to have lunch dates every Tuesday for years and years and years. And Max Talmay really drew out a lot of Albert Einstein's potential in the way that he thought about the world and the universe. And then Mozart, highly regarded as a tiny genius, was mentored by Johann Christian Bach. Couldn't have done it without him. He couldn't have just worked out how to read music on his own, so he had a mentor. And there's this great quote: "Art's golden thread of mentors stretches not just into the ancient past, but also far into the future." Okay, so I am an artist. I know the pitfalls, I know the traps, I know how to get around them. I've helped hundreds of others, and I know that I can help you too. So I can put you on the express lane and show you the shortcuts. So you might kind of be wondering how to take these 5 crucial stages and how to actually make them happen in your life in the real world, and how to do that quickly. So I've spent 25 years and over $100,000 working with the best of the best around the world to find the answers to that question of how do I do this and how do I get it done quickly. So the most effective and quickest way to achieve creative freedom is called Inspired Artist Mentor. So this is something you have been hearing about throughout this week, because I'm launching this Inspired Artist Mentor program. So I'll quickly tell you a little bit about what it is and how you can get involved and how you can get a mentor and how you can start to remove those blocks, get the clarity and vision, get the creative habits you need, build your confidence, and how to elevate your art and how to have a really clear plan. So this is an interactive online mentor program which lays out the 5 crucial stages of achieving any creative vision. So by interactive online mentor program, what that means is there are these 5 modules which have video of me delivering content. There are worksheets, there are exercises, and then each week we get together and have a mentor session to make sure everything's in line and everything's happening and everything's working to accelerate you to your creative vision. So my promise is that once you go through this program, you'll be a transformed artist. That is my promise. You will be a transformed artist. You'll come out the other side a new person, armed with everything you need to have a successful art practice. So it's for any art form at all, any age, any level of experience. Whether you're a beginner, you have some experience, or you're a professional artist. Even if you're a professional artist, you've been doing it for 50 years. I've worked with people in their 50s and 60s who have been professional artists before, and there's always room to improve. And a professional artist is always looking to push their creative edge. And the only way to do that is really to get into mindset stuff, because if you're a professional artist, you know, your technique is probably great, but there's other things that are holding you back. So there's absolutely no risk to trying this out. So I've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can take it, use it, love it. This is my artist guarantee. So you can go through the program, you can use it, and if you don't love it, then I just give you a full refund. And I'm just not precious about that at all. If for some reason you don't like it, it's just not the right thing for you for some reason, I just send you your money back. It's not a big deal. What's most important for me is that you remove the barrier of investing in your art, and you take the plunge and you do it and you try it out. And then if it works, you're going to be really happy. If it doesn't work, you just get your money back. It's really simple. Okay. So if you've enjoyed this masterclass and learning about the 5 crucial stages, and you'd like to take your learning with me to a deeper level, then the full investment for Inspired Artist Mentor is $500. As a quick comparison, mentoring of this type normally runs at about $200 for a 1-hour session. In the Inspired Artist Mentor, there's 20 hours of content, and that comes to a value of $4,000. So Inspired Artist Mentor is valued at $4,000. So because this is a launch of Inspired Artist Mentor, I'm doing something really special by giving away 4 awesome bonuses. So bonus number 1 is the Art into Action online course. So this is the quickest training I have to take you from being stuck to getting momentum on a very specific goal and task really, really quickly, really, really simply, and just to get you moving again. So if you haven't done your art for a while, this is the place that I would start. So it's the Art into Action online course. It takes maybe an hour to 2 hours to do this online course. So it's valued at $97. So you'll get this as part of Inspired Artist Mentor when you register. Bonus 2 is Inspired Artist Audio. So this is all of the audio files from the Inspired Artist Mentor modules. So they're fully downloadable so that you can put them on your phone, your iPod, iPad, and you can listen to them anywhere, on the bus, train. You don't need an internet connection. It's just all sitting there so that you can review it as much as you want and whenever you want, which is the really important part. So you can do it at your pace and at your leisure. So that is the Inspired Artist Mentor Audio. So that's valued at $197. So you'll get it as a bonus when you register. Bonus number 3 is Creative Freedom Online Course. So this is a video series I made that to help access creative freedom. I go into 4 main topics, which is inner critic, how to overcome fear, deeper into creative mindset, and how to what is the 4th module? I don't remember right now. But so there's about 2 or 3 or 4 hours of video mentoring and coaching in this bonus alone. So this Creative Freedom online course is valued at $200. Bonus number 4 is the most impressive, most valuable bonus. So this is 5 weekly mentor calls with me personally. So what happens is you go through module 1 of this course, and then at the end of that week, we jump online together and we workshop anything that happened that week. So if you got stuck, if you had breakthroughs, if you need some clarification on anything, if you need some encouragement, you need some cheering on, you need just some tweaks to whatever you're doing that week, or even if you want to go deeper into that module, there's an opportunity for us to be online together, and I will mentor you through that. This is really, 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 really valuable. Like I mentioned about having a mentor, someone who knows this stuff back to front and can, in about 5 seconds, get you unstuck, is this alone could save you a couple of years of kind of struggling on your own to learn this stuff. So that is 5 weekly mentor calls, and that is valued on its own $985. So you will get that, and you'll also get the replay recordings. You'll get that free when you register for Inspired Artist Mentor. So the bonuses alone are almost $1,500. So you'll get these bonuses free when you register. Because this is a special launch of Inspired Artist Mentor, I'm going to offer a pretty irresistible price. It's a bit of a no-brainer that at this price, if you don't jump on board, I'm guessing you really, really don't want to. And if you've watched this long, then at this price, I can't really see a reason why you wouldn't do it, because you're obviously interested. So that's why I want to make it irresistible. So as you can see, the mentoring on its own is valued at $4,000, but you're not going to have to pay $4,000. I'm offering the Inspired Artist Mentor, the online course, for a fraction of that, for only $500. But you're not going to have to pay $500, which is good news. So the Inspired Artist Mentor, with almost $1,500 worth of bonuses, for a limited time, for the next 1 day, in fact. So this is going to close tomorrow at midnight, Friday, the 11th of December at midnight. Inspired Artist Mentor is going to be half price. even with all of those bonuses, you still get all of those bonuses, and it's going to be half price. So your investment today is one low payment of only $247. So with that price, $247, I think of that as maybe 2 massages. If you went and got 2 massages, and even though I love massages, and massages feel great at the time, but they never ever last as long as you want them to. And that feeling just kind of fades away. But with the Inspired Artist Mentor, this is a $250 investment that you will seed, and it will bring fulfillment today. It'll bring fulfillment immediately, and also continue to bear fruit long into the future. Yes, so this is an investment in yourself, which is the best investment to ever make, is to invest in yourself. So there's also an artist payment option of 3 monthly payments of $97. And that's really just so that anyone on any budget can afford to do this. $97 a month for 3 months. Yeah, pretty achievable to do, especially if you are serious about, taking your art to the next level. $97 is pretty easy to do. Okay, so let's recap what you get. So you get the Inspired Artist Mentor online course, which is the 5 modules: Creativity Mindset Foundation, Clarity and Vision, Habits, Confidence, Elevate Your Art. And then you get the 4 huge bonuses, which is the Art into Action online course, Inspired Artist Mentor audio, Creative Freedom online course, and the 5 coaching calls and the replay recordings with me. So that's valued at about $2,000. And today it's $247. So if you feel that it's a good fit for you and that you'll benefit from a healthy creativity mindset, which I think by now you will agree that you will benefit from a creativity mindset, a healthy one, and you want to take your art to the next level, then let's begin today. Don't delay. So here are a couple of testimonials. I'm just going to show you 4 of people who have done this and what they had to say. So this is Naria. She said, Mio is infectiously enthusiastic, can't you tell, and makes the sometimes daunting thought of organizing and achieving creative goals straightforward and doable. As an artist himself, his advice is practical and professional, but still nurturing to us sensitive creative types. On top of all that, his classes are fun. His kind, generous spirit and encouragement will have you raising your hand for a high five. Angelique said, from doing Mio's 5-week course, I learnt new techniques and practices to improve my art, which has benefited me a great deal. He delivers clear and precise information, making it fun at the same time, whilst engaging with his students. I met some really nice people, and we could share our thoughts and experiences. I would rewatch Mio's sessions and take notes, as they were very informative and relevant. We can all relate to what he's teaching us, and he has inspired me to be better at my art practice through my daily tasks, vision, and guidance, and he has inspired me to follow my passion. Thank you so much again, Mio, for all your hard work and patience in helping us out. So Angelique now has had a huge transformation since doing this course and my live workshop. She's now going full-time as an artist. It's been her dream for a really long time. She didn't believe she could do it. And then we came up with a plan for her to do it, and she's doing it, and she is totally rocking it. Okay. There are a few more testimonials here. I won't go through them anymore, but basically people get great benefit out of this. And if you want to see these testimonials, you can click the button below, the Inspired Artist button below, and that will take you to the Inspired Artist Mentor page, where you'll get all of this information, and the testimonials are there too. So like I said, and this is important to reinforce, there's a 100% money back guarantee. So there's no risk to try this out at all and see if it's the right fit for you. So you can taste test this for 30 days, and you can still get your money back. So if you think about any school, or even if you go to a painting class or have a singing lesson or a guitar lesson, and you have the lesson, and then 28 days later, if you went back and said, hey, I didn't really like that lesson, I'd like my money back. it's not very likely you'd get your money back. But I want to make sure that you're happy with this and it's the right thing for you and that you're benefiting from it. That's why I offer this 30-day money back guarantee. Okay, so the good news is it's not too late yet, but it will be very soon when the clock hits 0. So it's not too late to fully embody the person and the artist you know you were meant to be, to feel whole and complete and to feel connected to your true self as an artist. So I know that you have gifts to share and a unique song inside you that the world is waiting to hear. So please do not go to the grave with that song still inside you. It's really important to follow your passion and to let that out into the world, share it with the world. So if you want to secure your spot, then this is the time to trust your higher self and take the plunge. It's now your time to rise. All right. Remember that your art matters, so go and create. So thank you for being here. If you have any questions, let me know right now. I'm going to check the chat box, and if there are questions, then we will get into that. But let me... Okay. So I'm going to just finish off this presentation and then come back to it. So thank you for being here. So click the Inspired Artist button below to get more info on Inspired Artist Mentor. And I think that's the end of the presentation. All right. So I think we're back. I think the screen share has ended and we're back. All right. So that was pretty epic. That was almost an hour and 20 minutes. I hope that you found that informative about the 5 crucial stages of an inspired artist. Yes, I've been researching this stuff hardcore for the last 3 years, implementing this stuff in my own practice, teaching this to others. And these 5 stages are, at this point, I feel they're just non-negotiable, that these 5 things really need to be in place, and they really need to be in place in a specific order and in a specific way. And that's what I'm here to teach you. That's what I'm offering to show you how to do that. And so really it's up to you whether you want that. So if you do want it, if you want more fulfillment in your creative practice, if you really want to clear out those blocks and totally go for it in your art, if you want to grow in confidence, if you want to have a clear vision and a clear plan to ensure that you're going to be successful, then there's no better time than now to register, to get you all set up for 2016. So there's an awesome Chinese proverb, which is, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So take advantage of this launch offer before that goes away. And also the bonuses will go away and the mentoring will go away. And I'm not sure if I will ever do this again. So if a part of you wants to do this, if a part of you is interested, just trust yourself and go for it. Commit to it and do it. And do it wholeheartedly and follow through. This might be your moment to really give that gift to yourself of following your passion and just do it. Just commit and do it. And then if for some reason you don't like it or you don't think it works or you think it's bogus or whatever, you just let me know and I send you the money back. That's the absolute worst that can happen, is you'll learn a bit of stuff and then you'll get your money back. So there's really no risk at giving this a go. So I hope you do, because this stuff is just bursting out of me. This information is so crucial to artists, and it's so crucial to the success of your practice and other people's practice, that it feels so important for me to share this with you. So, but I can't share it with you until you put your hand up and say, share it with me. Do it. I'm ready. So if you are ready, register below. or get more info below and check it out, see if it's for you. Thank you so much for being on this call. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was beneficial. I really look forward to either seeing you in the members portal and watching the videos and doing all that stuff and chatting with you, and then having our mentor call next week we start. So I really look forward to that. I wish you all the best in your creative practice. If it's not already hammering along, then I hope you find a way to do that. Hopefully that's with me. If not, all the best to you. And just remember that your art matters. So go and create. Cool. Have an awesome evening. I will talk to you very soon. Bye.